Welcome back, and in this video we're looking at the 2025 graphics paper. This is question 4. So a company sells a range of educational toys for children. Shown below is a toy garage, so we've got our little garage here. In the space provided, draw a well-proportioned, so proportion important here, it's a freehand sketch of the elevation. Okay, so looking in the direction of ROA. So it's the elevation looking in from A, not the entire object. And there's no mention of colour here. So well proportioned. Let's start off with just sketching off the base there. Okay, and this is the left hand side. Just to give us a right angle to start with. So the height from there to there appears to be almost the same as the length from there to there. So let's go maybe to here. That same distance, I'm going to step off. It's almost like a square shape in there. Okay, and then so it's that height there. Just light lines to get us going. There, kind of proportions. We have a door within that, so there's the door frame. It's almost, if we were to say split that door in half, it's almost a quarter, a quarter, a quarter, a quarter. So split that square in half, and let's go a unit out. Okay, so that'll be there, and it's the same distance as that down. So there approximately. So there's my door, and that door has a top and a bottom split across the middle. Okay, then this little overhang, it's about that same distance of the door, so one of these quarters, let's step off again and again, so about there, and the height of the overhang is in line with the top of the door. So we're going to this kind of grid shape that's going to help us. Then finally we have this top part. Now it's hard to measure that up, but if I go back at an angle here, I can see that distance is kind of the unit that we're looking to step off. So it's not quite there, it's that distance plus a little, maybe half of the same again. So that distance, I'm going up, and then half of that distance again. So that will be my height. Okay, so that's a little grid for us to work with. And now, nice, neat freehand sketch. It's marking everything heavy that needs to go in heavy. So our door. So it's all about getting our proportions as good as we can and recognizing common distances or splitting stuff up proportionally. Okay, the big one there was recognizing that this is kind of a square, and then if we were splitting this into 4, you'd kind of get 1, 2, 3, 4 units. You could step off 1, 2 more of those units then. So that's the way I like to think of it. Okay, and then, oh, don't forget my little poles coming down to support. Okay, so there's my elevation sketched out. I'm pretty happy with that. Part B, shown below is a stack of building blocks for a child. In the space provided, write down a number of blocks in the stack. So I like to start at the base and work our way up. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Then running along here, we've got 1, can't see it, but 2, 3, and I imagine, we'll assume that these are all stacked on top of each other. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 in the back corner. So 7 in the bottom row. Then we've got 1, yellow is 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5 in the second row. We got 1, 2 on top. So that's 14 blocks total. Okay, part C. The 3D image of a stacking puzzle is shown across, so we've got our 3D here. Shown below are the plan views for similar puzzles. Use a tick to indicate which one of the plans below matches the 3D image. So with our 3D image, we've got these shapes. Now we'll start with our little cylinder. So looking down on top of the plan of the cylinder, we'll see that as a circle, a small circle. So that's either one of these two. So I can forget about my middle one and block it off, right? And then we're going to look down on top and we're going to see a triangle. We'll see that as a heavy edges. The square we'll also see as heavy edges, and then the blue cylinder, that'll be underneath the square, so that's going to be hidden details. So over here we've got our triangle is hidden detail. That isn't right because it's at the top. So over here we've our triangle, correct, which is heavy, our square, which is heavy, and our hidden detail for the cylinder. Great, so this is the correct one. Okay, and finally part D on this question. Shown on the right is the elevation of a bowling ball A and a pin B in contact. So they're in contact with each other. Shown below is the incomplete elevation of the bowling equipment. So we have our incomplete elevation. So our pin is given to us, they haven't given us the ball. On the drawing below, locate the points of contact between the curves of the bowling ball or bowling pin. Okay, so we have a number of curves here. I'm just going to sketch them in to help you see. We have our circle with a center, so that's one. Then we have another arc here with that center, another arc here, and there's a full circle there and a full circle there. And then we have a large circle here and the same running that way. Okay, yeah. So we have an arc in contact with an arc, another arc in contact with an arc. So if I join the centers there, that will be POC, point of contact. And the same on the opposite side. POC, point of contact. Okay, let me just rub that stuff out because it's a bit messy. Should have done that on that smaller sketch. Okay, then we have this middle arc in contact with the large arc. So the center of that middle arc is here. The center of that large arc is here. So we're going to join centers again. Center to center. And there we have POC. And on the opposite side, we've that small arc and the large arc with the center there. So join centers again. So right there is another POC, point of contact. Okay, and is there any others? No, not right. No, that's it. Okay, so let me just rub out some of that messy sketches I put into that. So our points of contact found. Now we're being asked in part 2, complete the drawing by finding the center of ball A, so our bowling ball, and drawing it in contact with pin B as shown. Show all constructions. So we can't just get our compass, set it to the correct radius and just ballpark, kind of put down the center so it touches. We have to show construction. So our sphere or circle here, we can see is the height to the center there is 20, so it's radius 20. Radius 20. Okay, so the height there, we're going to measure up 20. Okay, so we know that we're going to be putting our compass somewhere along that line. Okay, so somewhere along that line is where we're going to be putting our compass, but we need to see where. So it's going to be in contact with the pin. Okay, so it's going to be in contact with this arc. So if I have the center of that arc, if I added 20 to that radius, okay, so I'll just show you here. If I added these two arcs together, right, it'd be radius 1 plus radius 2 would be that distance. Okay, So radius 1 we know is 20. We don't know that radius, but we can just add 20 onto it. Okay, so I'm going to get my, here I'll just draw a light line that I can measure 20 along. Okay, I'm going to measure 20, add it onto it. Okay, point my compass here on the center, set it to that radius 1 plus radius 2 length. There we have it. Okay, so this is the center line. This is where it's in contact with the point. So just to highlight that for you, I'll draw my new center. Sorry. There. Okay, and finally, well, not quite finally, we want to draw our circle. So it's radius 20. Radius 20. And we'll just check this touching. Yep, it's touching there. So here we have our circle touching both the XY line, because we measured 20 away from the XY line, and touching the pin because we added the radius 20 onto the pin. Okay, and then just to finish that off, okay, we want to show the point of contact between this circle and this arc. We do that same way we did before, we join centers. So I'm going to join the center of this arc to the center of this circle. And we have another point of contact, POC. Okay, so good to check that we got all our points of contact finished at the end of a circles in contact question. So that's part D completed, and we showed all our construction. Part E then, we have a perspective question. So this is a long question now, question 4, with 2 pages to it. So shown below is the incomplete perspective drawing of a toy garage. The 3D graphic is also shown. Complete the perspective drawing of the toy garage. So it's great that they give us what our finished product should look like. Okay, so I'm going to start vanishing lines back. Okay, so lines that are in reality horizontal. So I know that there's a number of lines here that are horizontal in reality. So these ones here, and we're going to vanish them back. Vertical lines then will stay vertical, and there will be a sloping line here and here. They've given us one of them, but we'll deal with that at the end. So we'll start vanishing stuff back to our VP1 and our VP2. Just lightly for now. Okay, we've got this. Okay, and yeah, now we're going to start doing some of our vertical lines. Vertical lines will stay vertical. Okay, so here we'll stay vertical until it meets that coming back, sort of a black key point. And we'll just extend that up lightly because we're going to need it. Okay, and we're going to find the inside here in the shelter. So we've kind of found that base. And then the vertical line will stay vertical, so straight up from there. Okay, next we have our door, so we can see there's a X on that. So let's join those diagonals. Those are going to give us some heights, some heights that we can use. So where X crosses, right, we've got that point and that point. So it's giving us a few things here. So I can finish off that top line. And then I've got the top of the door. We said vertical lines will stay vertical, so let's drop those down vertically. And finally, on the door, we have the center of it, which is the center of the X. So we'll have to use our vanishing point for that, because those are vanishing lines. So center of the door to our vanishing point, we can vanish that forward. So here we have our door split. Okay. Lastly then, we have this sloping line, okay, which will have a vertical element coming up. So let's just find that vertical part. It's going up there. And luckily enough, in this particular question, they've given us this point. So we can actually just vanish or project forward using our vanishing point VP1. Project that forward onto that line. Okay, so that's found this point, and we can draw our vertical part and then our sloping angled line in reality. So that won't, because that's this angled line, it doesn't go to a VP. Okay, so we have our horizontal lines in reality that they're horizontal, they go to VPs. Our vertical lines stay vertical, and angled lines then we need to kind of work out points on them to complete. Okay, and that is, just double check everything is heavy where it should be heavy and light where it should be light. Yep, I'm happy with that. So that was our question 4 completed.